Welcome everybody to another webinar. Sorry for the, just give me a second just while I get set up here. First of all, could you all just give me a yes if you can hear me? I'm in 2 trades at the moment, and I really wanted to catch them hitting. Doesn't look as though I'm going to be able to record it. I'm in the pound Aussie. I'm also in the pound Swissy. Nice. Pound Swissy has just hit for 70 pips. Oof. Okay, guys. First of all, just give me a yes. Just confirm that you can hear me, that there are no issues with the audio. I'm a little bit late, as I say, getting set up here because of these trades that I'm in. I don't think need to keep refreshing the chat because it's not working for me. So I'm just going to monitor that the chat is working fine. Ashraf, Anthony, Jack, Chi, good to see you guys back here. I hope you've all missed me. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these trades shortly and some other currency pairs. That one's just hit. Let me go back to the pound Aussie. 85 pips up on this one. She says, all good, can hear you. That's great. As usual, just to make you aware that for the last 6 months, 9 months even, I haven't had my main computer. It is still in storage. My house that I was buying fell through, 2 of them actually, and then COVID-19 hit. And so I've been stuck with my main computer. So I'm still working from the laptop. And in doing so, that means that I have to monitor the chat on my phone. Which just doesn't appear to be working properly. So I'm just going to give this another refresh, see if it'll work. In the meantime, you can watch me hold this trade and hit for 101 pips. Fingers crossed anyway, fingers crossed. While we're waiting for this, guys, I will run through any news events that are out today, the type of trading that I do for any newcomers. We've only got 8 people here at the moment, so we'll give it a few minutes for a few more to come because I know that there will be. How's everybody's trading been going? Have people gone from testing? Have they gone to live? Have you started trading maybe different types of patterns, structure? Anything like that? Has there been any changes in anybody's trading at all? This is going to be annoying just watching this because it's playing around a psychological number and my target is just past it. So if we get confirmation here that we could see a reversal, I'll go ahead and manually take this. I really don't want to, but we are playing at the 183 psychological numbers, so 95 up now. Come on, just push down. That's all you need to do. Just push down for 101. Guys, again, I'm not too sure if my chat's working, so if you will just throw me a yes in there. I keep having to refresh it because I really don't think it's working. Okay, if you just joined us, we're getting a few more now. We're just waiting for this trade to hit. It's just testing my take profit line. And I've just had a win on the Swiss yen, I believe it was. Okay, so Jack says, doing some trading could increase my profitability. What type of, it's not Jack, sorry, Jasek, I think that's how you pronounce it. What type of trading are you doing, Jasek? Is it structure based? Is it patterns? Is it Elliott wave? Is it EMA? Let us know what it is. I'd just really like to see this trade go and hit. But if we don't, we don't. It's one of those things. It's Jack. Okay. Jack's fine. Right, this is doing my head in. I really don't want to watch it. We'll come back to it in a few minutes because, as I say, we're playing around this psychological number here. This was a low and tight flag anyway. So if you just joined, welcome. We did miss the winner on the pound Swissy that's hit for 70. But what I'm going to do is just go over to the internet and bring up the calendar. I use the Forex factory calendar for me. And it's quite important to know what news events are out, what scheduled news events are out. Obviously, there's some unscheduled news events during COVID-19, which can make the market unpredictable. But there's nothing really out today that would stop me from trading. Euro, pound, dollar, New Zealand, nothing really that would interest me today that would stop me from trading here. So quite a clear day on the news front. No, still not going to take. Jack says, I do structure, flags, double tops and bottoms, and did some channel trading. Excellent. Pretty much the same as me. I do trend continuation as well. Flags have been rife the last week or so. I've had some real big winners. It's been fantastic for those breakout patterns. Watch your educational videos. They're pretty cool. Nice. Only pretty cool, not awesome. We'll just say you meant awesome. So this morning I went and did a review of all the currency pairs, and there's a lot of directional movement in the market. There wasn't anything in particular that has now played out. I was actually looking at a few flag patterns. They haven't as yet played out. In fact, I think they've become invalid. So first of all, if you have a currency pair you would like me to look at, chuck it in the chat. I know Stuart wanted us to look at the Aussie dollar. I don't know if Stuart is in or not, but I quickly replied to his message and said that we are holding a structure level, but no double top and no head and shoulders, no sign of a rotation for me, and that has now broken to the upside. So if there's no takers, we will simply start looking through these currency pairs. Now, because I'm working from the laptop, I've only got 4 or 5 open on my screen just here. There's nothing there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, just for ease, I'm going to go out to TradingView and have a look on TradingView here at some of these potential currency pairs. So Aussie dollar CAD, I think, was a dead trade for me. There was nothing on this. So I'm just going to run through them again. And if I spot anything, I will let you know. For me, the bulk of the trades were yesterday. Not anything I'm really interested in there. I'll keep monitoring the chat just in case there's anything you guys want to look at. This is what interested me on the Aussie dollar Swiss. You can see it was already drawn out, a potential high and tight flag. It wasn't valid for me. I needed 4 touches, so I needed the market to come back down. That didn't happen. We just simply broke to the upside. Let me have a look. And what we've done now is we've come into the structure high just up here. So I wouldn't be looking for any trend continuation trades on this now. Aussie dollar yen. Lots and lots of directional movement, guys, in these currency pairs. Directional movement up. Directional movement up. It's actually a good day for 5 range trading if anybody does that, where you drop to the lower time frame. This wouldn't interest me either. The reason being, as you can see, we've just come up to a psychological number at 7,400 flat. Could be putting in a 3-bar reversal just there. Let's carry on. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar New Zealand. Swiss yen. As I said, I never had anything on the radar this morning, guys, which was a real shame. There was an awful lot of trades yesterday. Nothing today. As you can see here, what we've done is we have broken to the upside here, but we've come in to this structure level. So no trend continuation here for me either on the Swiss pairs. Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie, still breaking to the downside here on the Euro Aussie. A nice big break to the downside. Yeah, so Euro Aussie is one that we can certainly go and take a look at. 182.93 is my target, guys. If anybody's watching the pound Aussie, let me know if we get close and we'll come back and see that thing hit. So let's go and take a look at the Euro Aussie then as a potential trade. We're moving very directionally. We've got a big lower close candle on the dailies and there's room to the downside. At any point, if I'm going too quick for you, please stop me and just ask a question. If not, I will just continue with my style of trading, which is structure based. So we've had a move lower. We broke to the downside. We saw a pullback, and now we've had yesterday this big lower close candle. So since that was the close of the candle, I'm going to go ahead and look left for structure. And is there any structure at this level? Yes, there is. Now remember, this was the close of the candles yesterday. Okay, so there is a fairly decent structure level there, and it came in at a psychological number, which was the 16400. One other thing I look at is the RSI. The RSI is not oversold, it's currently over at 28. And as you can see today, we don't know how this candle is going to close, but we are pushing lower. So as I drop down to the 240, the question is, has the 240 closed lower? And can I use that as confirmation that the market could be coming lower? Well, as we can see, yes, we had another candle here on the 240 that was a confirmed break below, close below, more of an indication that we could be going lower. And once again, we simply look left for structure. And this time, there is a test here, very small test here, and there's an area here as well. We use the right shortcuts. Okay, so there is an area there, but it does look as though, again, we're moving very directionally here. We could see the market continue lower. Again, though, right here, we've just surpassed or going past the 16300 psychological number. I'm just simply going to keep dropping down the time levels here. 60, very nice trend here on the 60, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, and move lower. So quite simply, you could look for trend continuation, so you could look for a pullback and then a trend continuation lower. Now again, we are moving quite directionally here, so this is where I can be a little bit more aggressive. Morning, Stuart. This is where I can be a little bit more aggressive and drop down the time frames and really look for those trend continuations on the lower time frame. Down on the 15, is there anything? Nope. I'm going to take a look at 5. So just going to go back to the 60, and for me, I'm going to re-look at this when we come into our outside return, which is going to be this area. So from the top of the wick to the bottom of the wick, this is the entire outside return. And those of you that work structure, then if you work it the way I work it, there are 3 ways that I can get involved with the trade. The first one would be the first chance entry, which is the wicks. I can look for a rotation pattern. Second one is going to be the candle bodies, where I look for a lower close candle. And the last one is the last chance entry, which is the wicks, which again is a rotation pattern. So this could very well happen today. It's only on the 60-minute. It's early in the morning. We could very well see the market come up to this structure zone, and we could look for shorting opportunities. So it's a potential. I'm going to write this down on my pad. Euro Aussie 60, trend continuation. And we'll come back to this. How is the pound Aussie doing? It is reversing. Wonderful. Reversed off that psychological number. Let me just go out here and take a look at the 60. There is Still room for this to come lower. Usually I would go ahead here and take targets just before the psychological number, but this was a breakout pattern. And so I wanted to wait for those targets to get hit. Either way now, this is a break-even trade. We will see if this stops and reverses and continues lower for those 101 pips. Stuart, is there anything you'd like me to take a look at? I know that I think you was interested in the Euro Aussie, wasn't you? Missed my winning trade on the pound Swissy, Stuart, for 70 pips this morning. While we're waiting, guys, I'm going to continue through the currency pairs. Euro yen. Let's take a look. What's going on here? Very directional moves here on the Euro yen. We've just had a higher high, higher close candle. Breaking higher still. Potential head and shoulders or continuation. Okay, let's take a look at the Euro yen. Stuart got stopped out of the euro dollar. Was you playing the back pattern or a potential double top? Because I will look at that, Stuart. I did have a closer look at that last night, and it wasn't a valid double top for me, and I'll go and explain why. But let's take a look at the euro yen. There's a potential trend continuation here on this currency pair. Okay, euro yen. Let's go out to the dailies. If you've just joined us, welcome. We've got a lot of directional movement in the market, guys. I did have a few opportunities, but it looks as though the market has just simply rallied past those opportunities. So right now, I really don't have anything on the board. If you just joined, I am still short the pound Aussie, just waiting for targets, and just hit a 70 pip winner as well. Stuart says I took partials, so the stop loss wasn't too bad once it hit. It was a counter trend double top from Friday. Okay, for me, Stuart, that double top was not valid, and I'll explain why. Very easy to mistake why it was valid, and I'll go into that. First of all, though, euro yen, guys, very, very directional. I'll draw out the trend, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, and now here we have violated the outside return, and we've also violated this. And as you can see, we are very, very bullish here, very directional. And if I put a structure level on at the highs, it's probable that we're going to come up to this structure level now after violating two levels of structure. And also there is a psychological number here at the 120, 100. Psychological numbers for me are every 100, and they're particularly good for attracting price action and putting your stop losses behind them. And if we zoom out, we'll see how good that 120, 100 psychological number has been in the past at respecting structure. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times in the past that structure level has held on the daily time frame, and we are seeing a significant reaction. So it's very likely that if we get to this zone, there could be some sort of counter trend move to the downside, particularly on the lower time frame. But right now, my prediction is that we're going to go up there, so I could drop down the time frames, and simply because we're so directional, we could look for that we could look for that trend continuation before the counter trend. Okay, so what else do we have? Well, I was looking at a potential ABCD pattern, but it's not going to be valid for me. But I'm just going to draw it out. No, it's not going to be valid. This is not directional enough for me. So let's drop down to the 240. Take a look at this. On the 240, again, guys, drawing out the trend because I am a structure-based trader. Move higher, pull back. Where was the next high? Just here. Small pullback, we can probably see this better on the 60, move higher, pullback, move higher, pullback, move higher. What I do love about this is we've just violated the 120 psychological number, and look at the momentum in this candle. Big bullish momentum candle. Now, is this a sign that there is still lots and lots of buying pressure in the market? If you think so, just give me a yes. I do like to make these a little bit interactive. If you think no, put in no. I'll zoom in so that you guys can see it. Not only is it a very bullish candle, Stuart says yes instantly, but what else do you notice about this candle? What else do you notice about this candle? Nicholas says yes as well. I think the majority of traders that have been trading for a while will say yes, that this is a very bullish candle. What I'm noticing as well is that the candle bodies and the wicks, look how small the wicks are. So the previous candle, where the market closed and opened, we did not go lower. Okay, we went lower by a few pips. We've got a very, very small wick, and boom, we rallied all the way up, and we've got a very, very small wick at the top. So not only is it a big bullish candle, but this says to me that, look, there are virtually no sellers in the market. Look how low the market came. It came just a few pips, and the buyers pushed the market up. As the sellers tried to push the market down, we only closed a few pips lower. So again, not only is it a big, strong, bullish candle, but everything is indicating here, this is buy, buy, buy. The market can still go higher. Now, if you're somebody that takes the RSI into consideration, we are overbought at 83.5. However, the RSI by itself means nothing. It has to come into structure. So we can be overbought for many hours, many weeks, even many months. We can be overbought before we'll see a reaction. So for me, the question is now, if I put a structure level here, is there any structure looking left? Stuart says small wicks, big body, more momentum. Exactly. So we know that there's room to go higher, but on each time frame, I want to look at the structure, because obviously the structure on the dailies is going to be different to the 240. There may be a key level here on the 240 which says to us, uh-oh, we don't want to buy the market. Now, our target, I'm just going to make green so we don't get confused between the target and the structure level we're looking at. And let's look at this. So there is not a structure level here. We have already passed this major structure level. There is a very small internal level of structure here. Again, small internal level for me. There is a bigger one here. Why is it bigger? Well, because we saw a bigger reaction. Here, here, here. Okay, so yes, there is a level here on the 4 hour where we could potentially see a hold and a retracement. So yes, we could then, in theory, see a pullback to this structure level, in my opinion, and we could then look for long opportunities. But let's continue dropping down the time frames. Let's drop down to the 60. On the 60, the RSI is overbought as well at 85. And what I've just noticed is that the last hourly candle was not a big momentum candle. In fact, it was an indecision candle. We had a bigger wick to the upside than we do to the downside, and we closed less than 50% of the body candle. So an indication that at this zone, we could just be running out of momentum. We could see a pullback. Let's again look at structure on the 60. Again, on the 60, we've got almost the same structure as the 240. We've got a couple of levels here. We've got a level there. And we've got those tests there as well. Let's go ahead and drop down to the 15-minute time frame. And I'm just going to drop to the 5, guys, and just take a quick look at this. So, potential head and shoulders setting up here then. So it's very likely, and for those of you that don't know how I trade head and shoulders, I look for a swing in the market. Head and shoulders for me are a pattern. So what I look for is a big, strong bullish run, a pullback, a move higher, a pullback. There's the right shoulder. And if we now look for a confirmed break below, close below these structure levels, you could look for a pullback and then maybe a pullback down to this level, which would be the outside return, which would really be this structure level here that I'd be looking at for potential targets. I want to run into predicting now what could happen at the next hourly candle. But first of all, does everybody understand how I've broken that down? From looking at the higher time frame and saying yes, on the higher time frame there's certainly room to go higher, then dropping down the time frames and actually saying, well, we're actually at 240 and 60-minute structure, which could hold because it's been tested 4 or 5 times. And so we could actually then see a reversal. So maybe I don't want to be as aggressive, even though we've got that big momentum candle. Maybe I just want to wait now and wait for a little bit more confirmation. I've got plenty, I've got a few yeses in there now. So if I clear this up, given the fact that we're now at a structure level, the RSI is overbought, and we have seen a big momentum candle, and now we've seen an indecision candle at 12 o'clock, which is the next close of the hourly candle. What could we theoretically see here that would give us some confirmation that we could see a retracement? Just type it in the chat for me, guys. I'm just going to have to check on my pound. Really want that thing to go and hit targets. I don't want it to be a break-even trade. I'm on such a run at the moment, guys. Stuart of Port, on the head and shoulders with confirmed break below, do you use certain fibs for entry on the pullback? No, I do not. I use trend continuation strategies. Stuart says double top on the 15-minute. Okay, we'll come to that in a moment. Just tell me right here, though, somebody type it in. Very simple strategy. When this red candle closes, if it closes a certain way, what type of candlestick formation will it give us? Jack would wait for a lower low, lower close. Yeah, okay. What type of candlestick formation would that give us if we got a lower low, lower close? Nicholas, a close below the low of the last green candle. Yes, it would. Stuart's got it. A 3-bar reversal. Okay, so not only would we have a lower low, lower close, but we'd have a very nice looking 3-bar reversal with the RSI confirmation coming in to structure. So this, guys, would be a counter trend trade because the dailies, the 240 and even the 60-minute are confirming bullish. But we've come into internal structure. We've got the RSI confirmation. If we get a 3-bar reversal, then this could be the confirmation we need to take a short-based trade. And we would only take it to our next structure level, which would be down here. So guys, in 30 minutes, if we get a 3-bar reversal, that's great because we've got the RSI confirmation. We can drop down the timeframes. It's looking at a double top, potential double top. Well, here on the 15, we do have the RSI confirmation. I'm just going to move the structure level up to there. So Stuart's going to be looking for a move higher, a pullback. I'll move higher to here and look for divergence. What I'm going to do now is just look for structure on the 15 minutes. So let's look left. I may have to go a little ways here to find it before I do that. Double tops for me, I highlight 2 areas, the close of the candles and the wicks, and I now need to look for structure. So let's go left again. What I'm going to be looking for is that on the 15 is that there's going to be significant structure for me to determine if it could be a valid double top. So we've got an internal test, internal test, internal test, internal. We've got better tests there. I think we're up to 5 or 6 tests now. Let's keep going though. The more we have, the better, the more confirmation it will give. Okay, a nice test there. A couple of very small tests here. Test here. Look at that, guys. Okay. We broke to the down. We broke here to the downside, pulled up, and boom, a very big reaction at that zone. That's a key level for me. Let's keep going. There's no harm in simply going back 3 years and just looking at the structure. The more confirmation, the more confluence, the higher probability of the trade. Right here, guys, and right here. So, what do you think? Do you think, I think we're on about 7 or 8 tests on the 15-minute now. Do you think there is a possibility of a double top and of a structure hold appearing? Just give me a yes if you think so or no, and you would like to see more confirmation. I'm just going to go back, guys. Yeah, Anthony got it as well, 3-bar reversal. Yes, 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 he's in there as well. Great. Okay. We can wait for the double top. If we get a double top, your risk, your reward. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be very, very nice indeed. However, again, we want to check all the time frames. So we know that this is a key level just here. Let's drop down to the 5-minute. On the 5-minute, look at what we have. So I have very strict rules for head and shoulders, and I trade a lot of strategies, guys, and I hope I'm not losing too many of you. What we have here is we can clearly see a swing in the market here. For head and shoulders to be valid, the left shoulder cannot touch structure highs. It did not do. We saw a pullback, and then we saw a move higher. We have seen a pullback, a retracement, and if we get a confirmed break below, close below these structure levels here, we will now have a head and shoulders. Now I will then take the head and shoulders over waiting for a double top. So it's going to get very complicated if I talk through all the three different strategies, 4 actually, that I use for head and shoulders. But in short, I'm going to be waiting for a pullback to this area. I'm just going to clear up the charts, guys. I'm going to be waiting for a trend continuation strategy, which is quite simply a lower low, lower close. I'll say if we get it here, I'll make sure stops are above the head and shoulders, because this could still turn into a double top on the 15, and then my target is going to be as a minimum this level. It could be lower, So we've been through quite a bit there, guys. Does everybody follow me on that? And just excuse me while I have a bit of my coffee, it's going cold. The old neck a bit of a crack. Ooh. So I'm really waiting for a break below, close below here, guys. Does anybody work head and shoulders at all? Anybody trade them? Just going to make a note of this. Euro, yen, head and shoulders. Jack says nice. We've got a few yeses in here. So this is only on the 5 minutes, and I don't want to miss the opportunity on this trade. So this may be a live trade that we're getting, guys, during this webinar. I'm actually just going to go out to the 60 and just look at where, excuse me, where my targets could be. Okay. I'm going to delete this off, and I'm going to say to you guys, actually I'll put it back on. If this is the outside return, where would you look for targets? We're going to spend a good few minutes on this, guys, okay? Because this is quite important. We've broken down this currency pair quite well. But it's important that we don't only just look at the entries, we look at stops and we look at targets, realistic targets as well, because if you enter in a fantastic trade with brilliant stop placement, but you're playing for the moon, well, it's not a very good trade because the chances of you hitting your profit targets may be slim to none. So it's important that we have all three of these risks, the stop, the entry, the target, in place correctly. Jack says, I take lower, lower, lower close somewhere in the right shoulder or similar patterns. Yeah, that's what I would do for the trend continuation strategy. Anybody want to hazard a guess here where they would take targets? Okay, I'll tell you what, make it a little bit easier. Would you say 1 within the wicks, 2 within the candle bodies, 3 within the lower candle bodies? 1, 2, or 3, just chuck it in there. Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Well, there is no right or wrong. It's down to your particular trading. But I would like your feedback on it as to where you would take targets. And then I'll tell you where I'll take mine and the reason for it. Oh, neck is killing sat here. Really miss my computer and my lovely comfy desk chair. Stuart says, based on my rules, it would be fib based for targets. Okay. Martin, 120 even handle and front run by 2 pips. Anthony says number 1. So that is this first area just here. Jack says at least a 1 to a 1.5 reward to risk. Okay, so I'm going to do the fib one first. So Stuart says fibs based. So those of you who know how to do fibs, not everybody does, you look at swings in the market and you draw them out from there. So we have a lot of swings here. Okay, I'm going to take this one for now. So from the swing low to the swing high, what's the betting that this comes into a 38.2 fib? I'm going to bet some money on it. Boom, right there. So Stuart would be looking for fibs based, and I'm assuming he would be looking for a 38.2, which would come into zone 1. If we throw another fib on, let's say we do it from this swing low here, could we see another key fib like a 61.8? We have a 61.8, a little bit lower. So there is some fib confluence there at the first level. So I'm just going to remove level 2 and level 3, just so you can see it more clearer. Okay, so that's how Stuart would do it. Now, some of you have said psychological number. Yes, absolutely. For me, I would look at targets at this psychological number. We know that psychological numbers are great places for support and resistance. We very often see reactions at them. The reason why I'd be looking around the number 1 area, which is the 2 fibs, the psychological number, and the tops of structure, is purely because we are very directional. We are only looking for a small counter trend trade. Okay, we're not looking for a big reaction here. We're looking for a small counter trend trade to this point. Potential 3-bar reversal, RSI confirmation, potential head and shoulders or double top on the 15, lots of structure. We have a nice place for targets. There is no point in trying to play past this zone, in my opinion, when everything is telling us that at some point we're going to go higher. Okay, so this is a small counter trend trade. I'm going to go back to my 5-minute So we still do not have a confirmed break below, close below. Just going to clear this up so I can see it. I'm going to be waiting for that. It's very important that we violate the outside return. Okay, this left shoulder is the outside return, and it is this that we need to break and close below. I'm going to put a structure level on there, and if we zoom in, we can actually see that because of this wick, we did not close below it. Okay, we need a physical break below, close below. If we do not get that, this is not as yet a confirmed head and shoulders. So I'm going to wait. Type in the chat, guys, if you wanted me to run over anything else on this trading opportunity. Oh, check on my pound Aussie, my 101 pip, of which came just a few pips below. I really wish now in hindsight I'd taken it at the psychological number. But my overall prediction is that we are still going to come lower. So I am predicting that we will see a reversal potentially within this zone and come lower. But just for a second in here, this is why we take targets or hide stops behind psychological numbers, because we see reactions at them. Now I'm playing for a little bit past it because this is a breakout pattern for me, and we have a very high probability of hitting the 127 fib. So that's why I'm holding this trade. But if there are no questions then on euro yen, we're simply going to wait. And it may be the case here that we get Stuart's double top. So I'm going to go back to the 15 as well. Double top rules. I've seen people work double tops different ways. I have very specific rules for double tops that I've tested and I know to be profitable. So just because I say this is a double top for me or it is not a double top for me does not mean that it's right or wrong. That's down to your discretion. For me, what I need to see is I would need to see the double top here-ish. Okay, I need to see a clear gap between the first test and the second test. A double top, I suppose, would be preferable in this instance because it would provide a better reward to risk. You can see on the 15-minute, we've just put in a doji, so we're just holding this level and we could see that move higher. Let's just wait. Gonna have to wait for this one. So please do not let me forget about it, guys. Really want to get involved with this. The head and shoulders would be nice as well. Haven't been in a head and shoulders in ages. I think what we'll do, Stuart, because you're in, we're going to go and take a look at the euro dollar and why it was not a double top for me. Do not let me forget about the euro yen, guys. Euro dollar. Euro dollar. Was anybody in anything on this? Because we was at a significant level of structure. And those of you looking for a counter trend trade may still be in this trade actually. Now, this was not valid for me, but there is a key swing in the market here. And these are places where key levels of structure I would look for a counter trend trade. Now, this may or may not have been valid for you, but you have a potential Gartley pattern here. Something like that. You can see the RSI on the dailies is overbought, just over 80. I can't trade off the dailies, not unless I'm doing a swing trade, but you can see we are pushing higher here. It says it was a squeeze entry he got in. Again, there's no right or wrong. It is how you deem the trade to be. What I did want to talk about, though, was this. I mean, if that was a valid flag, a valid back pattern for you, or even if it wasn't, then if you was looking at a counter trend trade, then put a structure level on at the close of the candle and at the high of the wicks. Okay, And this is how the trade was looking yesterday. So what I'd like everybody to do is just type in and say, would you have taken this as a double top? So put in a Y for yes and an N for no. And try to be truthful. We know that it's broken above this now, but would you have entered in this as a double top? Yes. And I will move the RSI up as well, guys, because this is a key feature. I need the RSI to be overbought on the first test with divergence in order for this double top to be valid. Martin says yes, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody that works double tops and double bottoms, just throw it in. It is good to make these interactive. Stuart says yes, he would have done. Okay. I'll just give it another second, guys. Trying to buy a bit of time as well for the euro yen. Nicholas says yes as well. Okay, so 3 yeses. Okay, so yes, looking at it, this does look like a double top. Divergence looks good. Jack, okay. This is something you have to check. I'll tell you why it was not valid. At least why it was not valid for me. Some people have said we've got the overbought with divergence. Well, did we? I'm going to put on, and I can't remember how to do it, so just let me go to my drawing tools. I'm going to put on a line, array, where we go down. Let me do that again. You know what? Let me just draw it. Okay, so this is the very first test just here, and you know what, guys, I may be wrong with this. I may be telling you some duff information. I could have sworn I checked this the other day. I was going to say the RSI on the candle, which was the first test, was not overbought. But it is. So apologies there, guys. I thought I checked this yesterday, just after I spoke to Stuart. But okay, the first test was valid. But for me, this was not a double top anyway. Just the movement of it was not the style that I would take a double top. So apologies there, guys. I really thought that it was like this and that the candle that had the RSI was the next candle. So ignore that. But it wasn't valid for me, so that's why I didn't take the trade. So apologies there, guys. But that's the reason anyway. This was not a double top for me, purely because it just didn't conform to the rules that I have. Stuart says he got a squeeze entry. Not too sure what that is, whether or not it's just the market running out of steam and kind of just squeezing together like this before we see a pop to the downside. But we've clearly broken above it now. If anything, I would be looking for long opportunities now. Because here on the 240, we have a very nice big break above, close above. We've got quite a nice structure level here. So test, 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 test. Nice momentum candle. So we could look for a move lower and potentially a continuation higher. And again, we have this structure level here. We have just violated it. So as a minimum, I'd be looking at the next structure level, which would be here, and then all the way up here, potentially. So Stuart says, in this case, it would be a bullish candle, bearish candle, and then another bullish candle. So those of you looking for a continuation to the upside, just drop down to the 60. In fact, guys, you could even make the case that this is, does it fit? It doesn't. I was going to say you could make the case that this was a triangle, but it's not valid. However, we can simply, you know what, guys, hang on, sorry, let me clear it up a bit. Is this thing valid or not? Yes, it is. Okay, so I don't like the directional pole with this kink in it. Either way, counter trend move here, guys. Looking for a move down to this level. Anywhere within this zone, I would say. Within this zone, really, you'd look for a higher high close. I'd really look within this zone, so we didn't come too deep. Look for a higher high, higher close. Give you something like a risk like this. If you can get a rotation pattern in here, great. It will give you nice tight stops. Targets are going to be that first structure level, which is going to be up here. It could offer you a very nice reward to risk, guys. So that's another one to keep an eye out for. So we've seen lots and lots of bullish or lots of directional movement. We've seen the market potentially run out of a little bit of steam, looking for pullbacks into key levels of structure, and then looking for the continuation higher. Ooh, 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 ooh. Are you guys monitoring my pound Aussie? Look at that. Now, if this doesn't test your emotions, nothing will. I was up 97 pips. I mean, look how close I came to my take profit line. 97 pips. And it tapped it and never took. But we didn't hit my projected target, even with that psychological number. So we're going to hold it. We're going to hold it. It's a free trade no matter what. I do want to look at the dollar CAD as well, guys. I caught a very nice breakout on that yesterday. I actually caught more than I put on the YouTube video that I sent out to people. I can explain why, but this is a currency pair we still need to look at because we still are moving very directionally and still putting in flags and breakout patterns and moves lower. So, did anybody watch the dollar CAD trade, by the way, that I published out there? It was a trend continuation trade based on a big breakout. I actually banked about 100 pips in the end, something like that. I was actually broken down in my car when this trade was rallying, and I saw the amount of selling pressure in the market, and I simply kept moving my targets, and we just kept rallying and rallying down, and I took them at a psychological number in the end. So I got about 100 pips out of that instead of the 74 that I declared. Right, let's go and then take a look at, yeah, we'll take a look at the dollar CAD, guys. Unless there's any currency pairs you guys would like me to take a look at. In fact, I think what we'll do, my coffee's gone cold, guys. I do want to stay online if you guys want me to, because there are two trading opportunities here I think we could get in. And it would be nice if I could show you that while we're online. So should we go for a 5-minute break? I can warm my coffee up and we'll come back and give a couple of these opportunities time to come to fruition. Just give me a yes if you'd like a 5-minute break. Oh, for those of you as well, I did say FTMO. I did join it, guys, under the scheme. Some of you may or may not know it, but Stuart does. I did join it. It's looking like I'm going to have 3 winners in a row on the FTMO. It's only under the demo account, but it should put me in about 52,700. So about 2.5% to 3% of the way there to my 5% target. I actually started it yesterday. And I've been trading 1% of the account. So we'll wait and see how that goes. So those of you that know what that is will know what I'm talking about. You can see that I'm still in the one trade there. That's actually the pound Aussie. He's monitoring euro yen. Okay. For the head and shoulders, let's just take another look at it. We may not get that 3-bar reversal with a lower low, lower close. Let's go ahead here and take a 5-minute break. Just having a last look. Yeah, and we'll come back, guys, okay? 5-minute break, and we'll come back. Okay, welcome back, guys. Apologies, my mute button doesn't appear to be working anymore, unless it's a setting in OBS, which I haven't got correct. I'll have to look into that, so apologies. I do not have the virus, for those of you that heard me coughing there. Just clearing my throat. Okay, we're 12 o'clock. Okay, let's have a quick look what happened on the hourly. Okay, let's go to the 60-minute on the euro yen. I'm going to have to clear this up a bit, guys, and delete our workings out. And I'm going to ask some questions about the euro yen in just a moment. I just want to double check these. Okay, that's fine. So on the euro yen, guys, we got a 3-bar reversal. However, what's a real shame is it was not a lower low, lower close. So there are two types of 3-bar reversals. This is a 3-bar reversal. However, it is not as powerful as the red candle being a lower low, lower close. That would have been awesome. Okay, so we've lost a little bit of the confluence that I wanted on this trade. That lower low, lower close would have really added significance to this. Let's go out to the 15. How's the double top looking? Well, it's looking like this could be a valid one for me. Okay, but we'll wait and see. This is going to be maybe an hour or two, I reckon, before we can look for an entry here on the 15, because we've got to get up. I've got to see a structure hold. I don't think it'll be during this webinar. And the head and shoulders, we're just still holding this structure level. So it's going to be one or the other, guys, okay? Stuart's still waiting for the double top. Right, let's take a look at what else. Euro dollar we've done. Did somebody put in there they want to look at another currency pair? If not, I will go straight onto the dollar CAD. Dollar CAD okay with everybody? Sure, it says we have the lower, lower, lower close on the double top setting up. Okay, dollar CAD then, guys. No point sitting around just waiting for those opportunities. Okay, dollar CAD has just been a beast to the downside, absolute beast, and we're coming back up to previous structure, guys, and I am going to be looking for short. Let me go out to the daily, see if I still got my drawings on here or not. Delete it off. Was anybody in any opportunities on the dollar CAD? I was short and I managed to catch the bulk of this big daily candle. Right, so structure. We've been through this once with Stuart, so he knows lower highs. Structure hold, indication that we could break through the structure level. Did we do that? Yes, we did with this big bearish candle, and then we saw sideways movement. Chi took the short, he's out now, very nice. Now, at this point, if this was live the other day, you could be thinking we could see a pullback or we could see a continuation. I won't go into why I took the continuation, but nevertheless, I took the continuation and I was looking for targets initially here. I then moved those targets down to the psychological number 13600, which meant I banked about 100 pips on that trade and not the 74 that I actually sent out in the video. If we move the structure level down, you can we're actually at this next level of structure, and we are actually at a psychological number as well, the 13500 flat. We've just gone oversold at just below 20. So there is a potential here that we could see a reversal. But that's on the dailies. The lower time frames could very well tell us something. Okay, guys, very directional move. Pullback and another very directional move. The RSI is oversold again at around 12, 12 and a half. But look at the candle just here. Another big lower low, lower close candle. Now, does everybody agree that the market is moving very directionally? Everybody should agree on this. Give me a yes if you agree. Very directionally. Look how steep the move lower is, a small retracement and another very steep move lower. With this type of directional movement, this is where I like to be more aggressive, because it's higher probability we're going to see the continuation to the downside. Therefore, if I enter in any trends or flag patterns, they are higher probability. I'm just going to move our structure level down and look for structure left. Okay, so 1, 1, 2, 3. Anything else? Okay, so we've got an area that's been tested 3 times on the 240. Not major reactions. Look, we came up, we kind of held this zone, broke to the upside and then just broke to the downside. So, and we only just violated the tops there. So not really a major structure level, but one that has obviously been adhered to. So we could see some sort of a reaction here, especially at the 135 flat and with the RSI over sold as well. Let's go to the 60. RSI not oversold anymore. Do we have a falling channel? I need 4 touches. 1, 2, no. Nope, that's not valid. So let's again look at structure. I'm just going to put 2 on actually at the close of the candles and also at the wicks. Just look left for more structure. There's nothing there. Okay, so it's still only that structure level. Okay. Let's drop to the 15. Okay, so this will be an opportunity for, I was going to say this would be an opportunity for me, but right here on the 15, just look how we've held that psychological number. I'm very wary when we're at psychological numbers because we do see reactions. And this psychological number, especially since we've held it on the 15-minute, which is where the trend is. Okay, let's draw out the trend, move lower, pull back. This was actually a flag pattern. Okay, I missed it. This was a flag, broke to the downside, pull back into structure, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back. Okay, so simple trend continuation strategy here for a minimum of a move to this level and lower. However, I would want to be more cautious here. The structure level isn't a major one in my opinion, but just look at how well we've held that psychological number. And that will very likely throw this trade out the window. I may still consider it if I have a very small amount of risk or I have extra confirmation. So let me drop down to the 5-minute. Okay. Here on the 5, you've actually got a little head and shoulders action going on here. Rotation pattern. You can see that we've now broken to the upside. If this was a back pattern, say, something like this, it isn't, but if it was, you could maybe look at using that with a small stop loss, giving you a very nice reward to risk. You could wait for, give me a few ideas, guys, of what you could wait for that would give you more confirmation that we could see a move to the downside. So remember, this highlighted area here is your outside return. What things can we wait for within this zone that would provide extra confirmation and a better reward to risk so that we can enter in short? I'll just give it a few seconds, guys. Okay, what I'd be waiting for is within the wicks up here, I'd be waiting for a rotation pattern. So just like we've got a head and shoulders down here, I'll be waiting for a head and shoulders here or a double top. And if you really wanted that extra confirmation, wait for it to break and close below this level. Okay, that would give you the confirmation we need that the outside return has held. We've seen a potential rotation in trend, and we could then see a move, I would say as a minimum, back down to the 13500 psychological number. Okay, guys, so I'm going to make a note of this as well. So dollar CAD, 15/5 minute trend continuation, and look for a rotation pattern. Okay, guys, any questions on this? The 15 minutes are almost up. Very nice. We've had succession of two bearish candles now on this pound Aussie trade. Anything else you guys would like me to take a look at? If not, I will just spend a minute running through the pound Swiss trade that won for 70. I think we've got a trade like this setting up. That this is why I want to run through the pound Swiss trade. Yeah, it's very similar to the euro dollar. So I want to show you how I was able to get involved with that trade. It was an almost 2-to-1 reward to risk. It's very similar to the euro dollar. So if there's no other takers, guys, on a different currency pair, I'll just run through the pound Swissy. 40 pips of risk, 70 of reward. We hit targets. Let's start on the higher time frame. At any point, guys, you can stop me and I can go over anything. We're clearly going higher here. We have a very big bullish candle right here, and this candle physically closed above all of these other ones. And you can see today we are pushing higher, and I would predict price to come up to these structure highs. Let's drop down to the 240 and zoom out a little, and what we have is a very directional move here, like so, and again violating all these levels of structure. Dropping down the time frame to the 60. I'm going to now draw out the trend because I took the trade on the 60, and the trend looks like this. Move higher, pull back. Move higher, move higher. And then there was a high and tight flag, just like this. Okay, targets were from the swing high to the swing low, and my target would have been the 127. However, I missed the trade, wasn't monitoring the pound Swiss for the high and tight flag, but look, it did hit the 127. But since we know the higher time frame confirms that there is room for the market to go higher, I went and zoomed out on the 60 and said to myself, well, this is the next structure level we could come to. You can see we've got a couple of tests here, 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 and here. We could very well come up to this structure level. It is also at the 12100 psychological number just here. And so it would be a good area to take targets. So what I actually did is on this situation, front run my target by 5 pips. So my target was at 120.95. So we can get that right. So again, similar to the euro dollar, this guys, and let me know if there's anything you don't understand. Resistance, support, resistance, support. So when I looked at this trade this morning, we had broken out with a big bullish candle, and I knew that this was a key area of structure where we could look for long opportunities. Okay, we'd put in this candle here, almost a doji, so a very long wick and a very small body, but look at the candle itself. Trading is all about building up confluence. We've got no wick to the upside at all. So the sellers tried to push the market all the way down. They were beaten all the way back up, and we closed right at the very highs. So lots of buying pressure, and that happened at the 2000 psychological number. So within this structure zone here, I'm simply allowed to look for a higher high, higher close candle, one time frame lower. And you guys should be able to see it. That candle right there was the higher high, higher close. And it actually meant that my risk on this trade was 1 ATR below the outside return. So it was about there. And the reward was up there. Very simple. Okay, we had the higher time frame confirmation. We'd broken out. We saw a pullback into a key level of structure. It had provided me a very simple trend continuation opportunity with a higher high, higher close candle. It offered me a reward to risk of almost 2 to 1. Got involved with the trade and it hit within, I think it was 1 hour, an hour and a half, something like that. So it is very similar to the euro dollar. We know we have the higher time frame confirmation. We know we've got a structure level here that's being adhered to. We know we've got buying pressure because look at the bullish market here. And we know we're pulling back into this structure zone. So we apply the same rules again. Okay? Psychological number right here, 1100 flat. A great place to put your stops behind. Exactly the same, guys. If you implement a strategy like this over time, you will become very, very profitable. And of course, you can then add additional confluence. You can say, okay, well, I don't want just a higher high, higher close. I'm going to wait within the wicks just here or within the wicks just here for a rotation pattern. Or you can say to yourself, what I'm going to wait for is something like trend. So not only just a move higher, but a pullback and another move higher. So you have trend or, and there are so many ways that you can do this. You can say, I'm going to wait for a pattern, something like a back pattern, and use that as the entry. There are so many things you can do. Let's drop down to the 15. This could very well turn into an advanced pattern and offer you some form of an entry. Any questions on the euro dollar, guys? Sure, I'm not sure which one we're going to get. Are we going to get the double top or the head and shoulders on the euro yen? Double top is preferable because better reward to risk. Head and shoulders is higher probability, in my opinion, because it's a break of the trend and it's a pattern as well by itself. All right, guys. Well, I don't think we need to make this webinar any longer than it is or go through any more currency pairs. All I'll say is we've seen lots and lots of directional movement. There are opportunities out there. Most of them are trend continuation opportunities. Some of them are small counter trend trades. Wish me luck on the pound Aussie because really do want that thing to hit. And if there's no other currency pairs, guys, I'll just say keep an eye out for the four that we're looking at. This is the Euro Aussie. We're looking for trend continuation. The pound Swissy, nope, not that one. The Euro Yen, we're looking for a double top or a head and shoulders. The dollar CAD, I will need extra confirmation because of that psychological number, but I'll be looking for something like a double top up in the wicks. And the euro dollar is exactly like the pound Swiss I've just gone over, looking for some form of entry, double bottom, head and shoulders, higher high, higher close, advanced pattern, AB equals CD pattern, a lower time frame, reversal in trend. There are so many of them that you can use. The more you have, the more confirmation it will give. Just make sure that you have realistic targets and good stop placements. Good stop placement, good entries, good targets, make for a good trade. Stewie saying double top looking like with those candles. Does look that way. Okay, guys, well, we've lost quite a few people, but I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. There's quite a lot that we've gone through there. I will be doing more of them. I'm going to get back into doing more of these free webinars for people because it does help some of you. It also helps me to go through these currency pairs in a bit more detail. So apart from that, guys, I will see you on the next webinar.